Coming up this morning on Breakfast Television, Taking the High Road, Man Shoes is a great read heading into Father's Day. Coming up in this half hour, Overcoming Adversity. We'll talk to the author of Man Shoes about new beginnings and living a better life. And then we are leading up to Father's Day with a story of one man's quest to choose optimism over negativity. We'll meet the author of Man Shoes. That's coming up next. By the time he was 5 years old, Tom Watson had experienced more emotional turmoil than most of us can imagine. He lived in a total of 13 foster homes and was physically beaten and emotionally abused at one of them. And after finally finding a stable family, he began to heal. But years later, another trauma would be a serious test to his inner strength. Well, he has written a book about his experience through loss, love, and the lessons he's learned. The book is called Man Shoes, and Tom Watson is here with us this morning. Good morning. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Now, I alluded to kind of a second blow, a second challenge you had to face. What was that?
Well, my first wife, Darlene, and I had been married for about 6 years, and we found out on December 19th that she had leukemia. And so we ended up in the hospital for most of those, the next 6 months, and struggled to beat that. But she passed away in late June the following year, so it was quite a blow for me. We had two little guys, you know, Bradley was 4 and Kelly was 2, and so single father all of a sudden, you know.
Yeah.
And so very, you know, a lot of people have to deal with that, but at very trying times.
So now how did you make it through? Because now you can smile about that whole experience.
Well, you know, I became, actually, to be honest, Heidi, I fell into a deep depression. And I'd been through a lot in my life already, and Darlene really was kind of this rock for me. And so I actually had planned to commit suicide. A few things had happened in a short period after the funeral, and it was Lil Bradley who said to me, we'd watched a show, All Dogs Go to Heaven, and of course at the end of All Dogs Go to Heaven, Charlie dies and goes to heaven, the dog, and Bradley looked at me and he said, Daddy, please don't die and go to heaven. And so in the end what happened was I realized I snapped out of this funk that I had been in for quite a while, and I thought, I got to get out of here, I got to do something and reconnect with these boys. And we went on a 47-day McDonald's road trip, and that was the first step forward, really, in recovery. And we ate at McDonald's for 3 meals a day for 47 days, and that's really how we began to heal and come together as a father and 2 little sons. You know, so it was. People say, oh, you know, 47 days of McDonald's, and I say yes, 47 days, and I didn't die.
Yeah, that's true.
But we healed.
But it was the bonding process along the way, right?
Yeah, it was the experience, and that we had a purpose every day. We went to 47 different days of McDonald's in different communities, and we had a purpose. I had a reason to get up in the day, and could see the boys and see the countryside and see different things that said, you know, made me feel like you need to keep breathing, you need to keep going on with this journey that you're on.
The book not only tells your story, but it also gives advice. It's kind of a guide as well. So describe that element of it.
Well, I just think that as, in particular, all of us, men and women, but for men in particular, we oftentimes don't sit back and rest our soul and actually say to ourselves, you know, what was the lesson in this? And so through the book, what I attempt to do, and people have liked it a lot, is that, you know, to tell a story, but also what is that lesson, and what do you think the lesson was? So at the back of every chapter there's a what did you think, and how did you feel about that? And so just a little reminder to stop and rest your soul, because we need to learn from our experiences. So in the book Man Shoes, that's really what it's about, is here's a story. You might not share exactly my story, but you've probably shared similar things in your own life, and have you rested Have you rested your soul and thought about that? And have you been able to process that and take that first step forward in really healing through that?
What are man shoes?
Man shoes is the concept of, at 18 I thought I knew everything, and my feet actually had stopped growing, and my mom stopped buying me shoes that were an inch bigger. And so she bought these shoes that were exactly for my size. But what happened for me was when I left the Watsons, this elderly couple that were my 13th foster home, what I realized was my shoes started to grow. So life started to throw things at me that I didn't know about. And my feet were still an inch behind. And they've been an inch behind ever since. And I think they will be until I die. I think they will be for all of us. Because we're going to have new experiences in our lives. And these new experiences we're not really ready for. We think we are, but we aren't. And so there's this inch. And that's where I say faith in my life has allowed me to gap the difference between the end of my toe and the beginning of my shoe. And there's always that gap in our lives where somewhere, somehow, we have to find this faith or these mentors in our life. And I talk about mentors in man shoes.
Well, it's a wonderful book, an inspiring story, and there is great advice in here. So you have to pick up Man Shoes to get tips for your better life from Tom Watson, and again, a fabulous story. You can go to Amazon, either .com or .ca, to get the book, and you can go to manshoes.ca as well for more information. Tom, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break here on Breakfast Television. We will be back in just a few minutes. It is 7:53.